From 3 News Now and the Omaha World-Herald, this is Omaha Sunday Morning with Jennifer Griswold.
This week on Omaha Sunday Morning, like one of the ghost-like baseball players of Field of Dreams, a UNL researcher makes his way through a field of sorghum, but he's not headed to a baseball field. He's heading out to check a crop so controversial it's hidden. We go into the hemp field that could help spur a new type of cash crop in Nebraska. Plus, a crumpled up truck now sits sadly in a drive in the Gifford Park neighborhood. But if this truck could talk, it would have quite the story to tell. How it helped bring a whole neighborhood together. And the total solar eclipse brought massive crowds to the state and still has people talking almost a week later. Good morning and thanks for joining us this Sunday. I'm Jennifer Griswold. You could call it a trip back in time, traveling the Midwest in an old locomotive. Young, old, people seem to be drawn to the nostalgia. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Brendan Sullivan takes us on the ride full of memories.
Since I was a little boy, trains have been part of my life. First time I saw or heard a train, I was hooked.
I'm experiencing probably one of the greatest train rides anybody could ever expect to have in the United States. Union Pacific has excursions like this once in a while, and the equipment is in such good shape, the ride is so smooth, it's just a getaway from everyday life.
I worked for the Union Pacific for 17 years, and one time they came and asked me if I would pose for an ad they were going to do in a magazine, and I said sure, and then they gave me a copy of the photo, which this is like 70 years ago. I've had a lot of fun with it. My picture's been in the Durham Museum, and I say, you know you're old when you're in a museum.
If you've never ridden on a train, it's hard to describe, but once you have, you're converted for life, and it is something that just calls you back time and again.
My interest in trains started out when I was about 3 years old. I had a huge indoor model railroad set in my parents' basement, and I worked with that model railroad until about age 15 or 16. My grandfather was the engineer on the Union Pacific from 1905 to 1954.
I travel on trains all over the world, and particularly interested in this because I haven't ridden on that many trains on the Union Pacific Railroad, and an opportunity to ride in such beautifully preserved coaches wasn't to be turned up.
More than 400 people got to experience what old-time passenger railroading looked like, at least for Union Pacific, on these beautifully restored heritage passenger cars. So people got to experience everything from a coach car where you sit in rows, kind of like on an airplane, but much more comfortable, all the way to luxury lounge cars, which were the height of luxury on the railroad.
Trains should make a comeback in the United States. Most other countries, especially in Europe, have far superior train service to what we have, and I wish we had that.
It's a really interesting way to see the countryside. It's sitting in a car on an interstate is not much fun, whereas this is you see different parts, not necessarily the most scenic parts of some of the towns you go through, but it's always really interesting.
It's just exciting to be on a train again. It was an experience every time I was on a train, so I thought I'd love to go through it again.
Well, I enjoy seeing places I've never been before, and even if I've been there before, it's a different perspective from a train as opposed from a car. Like Star Trek, go where you've never gone before.
So on behalf of the Union Pacific Railroad, the Union Pacific Museum, I want to thank you for your tickets purchased to support the museum. And I hope you had a very pleasant train ride today. Thank you for riding.
The people with those photos, such great stories. People came from as far away as England for a chance to ride. One woman even celebrated her 100th birthday with her family. A park in the heart of the city pays tribute to the men and women who serve our country. But time has taken its toll on the tributes that stand there. The monuments at Memorial Park are showing their age. Chipped paint, rust, broken bricks. They have caught the attention of local veterans who are now on a mission to get the place spruced up.
It's important to get it done as soon as possible because, like I say, they are passing on, and it's great they can come up here still and enjoy it.
The plan uses both public and private money to fix the monuments. The hope is to have this project done by 2018, just in time for the 70th anniversary of Memorial Park. More than a year after tragedy struck a local parish, members are coming together again, this time to celebrate the lives of two young boys gone too soon. Lane Graves and Aspen Seaman both died last summer. Their families were both members of the same church in Elkhorn. And this week, St. Patrick's honored the boys by opening an activity center. 3 News Now reporter Miranda Christian was there as the Aspen Seaman and Lane Graves Activity Center was dedicated.
It means much to us to be able to dedicate and name this building after our 2 angels.
It's a dedication that holds a special meaning.
This little guy actually ran around with Lane quite a bit, just picking up kids out front. So it hit us all pretty hard. The 2 little ones had such an impact on our lives.
Losing Aspen Seaman and Lane Graves last year was a heartbreaking loss the St. Patrick's community had to endure.
It just was a profound loss.
A loss now turned in a way to honor the boys forever.
Before this, the kids played in the parking lot or else actually in the hallways.
Children were already running around the new gym and munching on cookies and juice in the cafeteria.
I think the exciting thing is that they'll get to live on forever here at St. Pat's. The thousands of kids that are going to come through these doors and get to experience that.
Let us pray.
Archbishop George Lucas blessed the new center. With a gym packed full of support, this was another step in the healing process after the loss of 2 special lives.
You can't get through anything without community, strong support, and everybody here is that support system.
Father Tom Fangman says it's been a healing process for everyone this past year, but what has been amazing is both the Seaman and Graves families have created their own foundations to help so many other people and to honor those young boys. Wind in your hair, speeding down a trail, the thrill of biking is a joy for many, and that rush has inspired one woman to help others experience it too. People who, like her, are blind or visually impaired. How she's doing it when Omaha Sunday Morning continues.